I've always had an affinity for games that contain over-the-top action and tongue-in-cheek silliness. The games make little to no sense, but they own it because they're so focused on providing you an entertaining experience. So here, I'm counting down the top 10 games that were able to be the best at being awesome and stupid at the same time. Typical rules apply, let the carnage commence. I've never been a huge fan of realistic racing games. Sure, they looked nice, I guess, but take 2 steps to the side and you'll see they're completely two-dimensional. Not a lot of them are really all that fun to play and haven't aged all that well. To me, they seem to only exist to fuel fanboy wars.
Though, to be fair, we've all probably gone through that phase.
However, there was one series that was able to have its cake and eat it, and that was Burnout, a franchise that not only featured nice-looking cars, but also cared about your fun. The Burnout franchise's main shtick is the more recklessly you drive, the faster you can go. But I feel the entry that nailed the insanity and fun was Burnout 3 Takedown. Takedown had a really upbeat tone and atmosphere, as evidenced by the very cheerful soundtrack, and unlike other entries in the series, the color palette was very bright and clear. A new feature introduced to the series is takedowns, where the more enemy racers you destroy, the more boost you get, and the faster you can go. This game encourages you to drive as crazily and aggressively as possible, and this even carries over into a special new mode called Crash Mode, my personal favorite. The objective of this particular mode is to involve as many cars as you can in a crash and cause the most insurance damage possible.
Where will you be when a crazy drag racer leaps off a ramp into oncoming traffic and then explodes several times? Allstate, are you in good hands? In the world of Burnout 3 Takedown, probably not.
The original Kid Icarus was always kind of bizarre. I don't quite remember any Greek myths dealing with eggplants, flying noses, or Rolling Stones mounts. So to say Kid Icarus Uprising took liberties with its reference materials like saying Immortan Joe got Norse mythology 100%. But I don't think that was the point. By not being bound by rules of established mythologies, Kid Icarus Uprising managed to create an atmosphere where anything was possible and be its own thing. We can smash people with a skyscraper on a stick and be like,
Okay.
We can have classically inspired gods fight off the Borg and be like,
That's cool.
We can have Japanese food be in a heavily Greek-inspired game and be like... Admittedly, this game is more on the stupid side than the awesome side, but in a good way. It's irreverent fun, but it's not trying to be too over the top. Oh wait, there's a giant mecha at the end. Never mind, crisis averted. We all love our crossover games. Smash Bros, Marvel vs. Capcom, Professor Layton vs. Ace Attorney, Heroes of the Storm, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, and maybe Anarchy Reigns? Does that count? Anyways, these are games full of potential. You can have Albert Wesker fighting Phoenix Wright, but has anyone stopped to think that Albert Wesker is fighting Phoenix Wright? It's pretty weird. The stranger crossovers come whenever these games try to rationalize and explain the reasons for these worlds crossing over. Take Heroes of the Storm, for instance. In the tutorial mission, Raynor from StarCraft gets beamed up to the Nexus by Uther from World of Warcraft. Uther then takes the time to explain the lore, but when Raynor asks, why are we actually here, Uther can't answer. It's just kinda hand-waved. Or like in the Subspace Emissary, it's supposed to be a huge world where trophies fight.
Several questions.
How did this get started? Why is everyone a trophy? Palutena's there, so is she a god or is she a trophy too? How can some trophies capture other trophies in Pokeballs? If they're all supposed to be from the same world, why do all of them look so artistically different? Even though all of these weird matchups are right in front of our faces, we never really stop to think about what would actually happen if these characters met, especially the awkwardness of Arthas and Uther.
So, about that time I killed you. Sorry, not sorry. I got a huge, awesome sword out of it.
Oh, shut up, Anakin Skywalker.
Hey, you! Tired of sandbox games where there's too much of a story? Did you think that the accents in GTA 4 weren't stupid enough?
I just want to blow things up without that pesky story or real-life consequences getting in the way.
Then unleash your inner psychopath in Just Cause 2 today! Feel the thrill as you hook a guy to a plane and then ram the plane into a military base. Scratch your head as you skydive and then fart out an unlimited amount of parachutes. Cringe awkwardly as your ears are assaulted by the most laughably bad accents this side of Nicolas Cage. Still not convinced?
Not really.
Okay, it's really simple. Do you like blowing things up?
Sure.
Well, then this is the game for you, because literally everything that's red in this game, you have to blow up. Red barrels, blow them up. Red gas stations, blow them up. Red apples, blow them up.
Why red?
Because the main objective of the game is to usurp not Fidel Castro.
Wait, you mean it's political, but you can also blow things up?
Team Fortress 2 is pretty fun and silly, but in the stupid awesome department, I wouldn't say it's quite enough to make the list. I mean, sure, we got silly weapons with over-the-top characters, but all of this is done with a Pixar-esque art style, which gives it a bit more charm, but actually kind of subdues the stupidity. So, what would happen if you took Team Fortress 2's insane world and gameplay and gave it an art style that better matched the implicit insanity? You would get Loadout. VentureBeat describes Loadout as Looney Tunes if directed by Quentin Tarantino.
And you cannot get a more fitting description than that.
Aside from the incredibly insane amount of weapons with crazy effects, the characters die in incredibly violent and gory, yet cartoonish and hilarious ways. Get your torso blown off? The legs will geyser out blood before falling with a cartoony splat. Get your legs blown off? The torso will flip the killer off before respawning. The art style really complements the atmosphere, especially in the facial expressions, which seem to be permanently set to maniacal, even when they've been burned to a crisp or blown off to the point where your head is nothing but a brain and eyes.
You hear that, Unity? Loadout did it first, and did it intentionally.
I may not like the games myself, but I can't deny Bayonetta is absolutely insane. I mean, she has guns on her heels. 1, how do you come up with that? 2, how do you fire those? Wait, she's a witch, magic, duh. Even though the game is conceptually similar to Devil May Cry, there are a few significant differences that put Bayonetta further into stupid awesome territory. For example, Devil May Cry features a not-so-serious character in a serious world. Bayonetta features a slightly more serious character in a much less serious world. Hello, straddling a rocket! Or even better, towards the end of boss fights, her clothes fly off to summon giant demons that lay epic smackdowns on corrupt angels, and both your summons and the angels you fight get increasingly larger as the game goes on. So, have I sold you yet?
Okay, she wears a skin-tight jumpsuit into battle against demons and shows off a lot of unnecessary TNA. Let the debates rage in the comments.
Oh, Bayonetta, your final boss is as big as a planet? Well, eat your heart out, cause in Asura's Wrath, the first boss is the size of a planet! Asura's Wrath has been described as an interactive anime, so take from that what you will. I take from it that punching everything will eventually result in its head exploding, even if it's God. Asura's Wrath is very unique in that enemies don't usually have health bars. You only proceed by building up a rage meter to its maximum and pressing a button which activates the next cutscene. Yes, you literally can't beat the game unless you hit things enough. Kudos to the developers for bridging the story and gameplay that smoothly. I don't think I want to mention every crazy moment that happens in the series, as the game really is best experienced directly rather than commentated on, but let's just say the boss encounters with Wizen and August set the tone for the entire game, and what gloriously stupid awesome tone it is. But I think we can all agree that the stupidest thing about the game is holding the true ending hostage as DLC.
You know, the way I've been taking shots at Capcom, it's almost becoming a running gag.
Let's see, how do I want to kill thousands of Chinese people today? Do I want to fly through the air on giant wing blades that would make the Wright brothers cry? Do I want to trample my enemies with a giant flaming horse? Do I want to suplex people, which creates a giant shockwave? Or do I just want to cut dozens of people with one swing using laughably unbalanced and impractical weapons that shoot out lightning, ice, and fire?
So many choices to commit small-scale genocide. I love Dynasty Warriors so much.
Yes, I know it's an obvious choice, but really, what could be better than killing hundreds of people with the previously mentioned options? I suppose doing it while playing people who have more camp than Boy Scouts.
With the family together, there's nothing we can't overcome.
I will use my sheer might to smash all in my path.
It is our task to put an end to this chaos!
Precisely. I couldn't have said it better myself.
What does strength mean to you?
I
can sense the sorrow that I know he is feeling.
But what makes this world so weird is that you have all these insane particle effects, matrix physics, and ninja moves, yet everyone usually dies from an arrow. Seriously, it's always with an arrow. Well, I guess you gotta keep that historical accuracy. Historical accuracy. Sorry. Everyone loves to talk about how Metal Gear Rising is stupidly awesome. And it is, but to me, that was just the game where I dropped all the pretense. Upon briefly playing Metal Gear Solid 5, it kinda made me realize that the entire Metal Gear series is really not as smart as it likes to think it is. The more I thought about it, Metal Gear has always been kinda stupid, and serious at the same time. It's like old James Bond movies with the government and espionage plots and a bunch of drama and romance. And then suddenly Jaws and Baron Samedi and Objob and I'll die another day. I mean, in the original Metal Gear Solid, we have the game reading our memory card and making paintings of the game's execs laugh at us, while 10 minutes later, it'll start lecturing us about the stark nature of the base desires of humanity. One moment in Metal Gear Solid 4, we're slicing a Metal Gear in half with giant explosions. Then next, we're deconstructing the role of a person in war through the perspective of enemy soldiers and discussing the ethics of fear inhibitors. We have a game dealing with Americanized social Darwinism, which also gave us
Don't with this, Senator!
And even before all this in Metal Gear 2, we have an evil terrorist establishing his own country. And then we have deadly poisonous Zanzibar hamsters. This series is so dumb, but you know what? Who the f cares? You get to fight a mentally disturbed soldier who shoots bees. You start one of the darkest games in the series listening to David Bowie. That's cool. I think this is honestly why people gravitate so much to the series, especially when you look at Ground Zeroes, which turns certain people off with how serious it is by comparison. Metal Gear takes such silly and over-the-top concepts and somehow can draw stimulating discussion from how it's handled, which is genius in its own way. I mean, just look at the reactions to Quiet.
For this segment, I have decided to bring in the Stupid Awesome meter. Patent pending.
The game's first mission has you defusing a giant doomsday rocket to the tune of Aerosmith. You somehow survive the fall from orbit and somehow become president of the United States. Your first action that you have control of is to decide whether to cure cancer or end world hunger.
Oh, by the way, on my first playthrough, I actually spent about 20 minutes deciding which one of those to pick. No other moral choice in a video game has made me stay for that long. Just saying.
Then we fight off an alien invasion by Vincent Hades Price.
Do what exactly? Huh? Bravado me to death?
He promptly kicks your butt and places you into the Matrix, which looks like the Andy Griffith show threw up on The Simpsons. Once you break free and get the Earth destroyed in the process, you get thrown into a new Matrix where everything is trying to kill you, and where through laws that even the game itself admits to making absolutely no sense, you are granted sandbox superpowers along the lines of Crackdown, Prototype, and Infamous. Getting new powers involves completing side objectives, such as flying through the air trying to cause as much health insurance fraud to yourself as possible, blowing things up in a giant Tron tank, and shooting cats. No, not real cats, the game's not that screwed up. The story missions include making fun of Streets of Rage, Metal Gear, classic 8-bit PC adventure games, and even has Vice POTUS Keith David fighting Rowdy Roddy Piper. Why?
The better question is,
Why not?
Your newest weapons include a lightsaber, a dubstep gun, a black hole generator, and a giant overcompensating machine gun with a flamethrower and rocket launcher attachments that play the Marines' hymn.
America.
At the end of the game, you fight the main villain in a giant mech suit to the touch, give him a Sub-Zero fatality, and conquer the entire universe. That is the magnificence known as Saints Row 4. It is stupid awesome incarnate. I'm the Fiery Joker. Thanks for watching.
Cut!
So, Josh, you talk about Kid Icarus Uprising in this video, and you have my voice on your writing stuff. It would be such a missed opportunity not to do something about that.
Oh, not this again.
And here, on the left wall, you will see Josh's ego. And on the right wall, you will see also Josh's ego.
No, it's not like that. I just want to pay my fans back because they put their heart and soul into these.
Well, mercy on them.
You're a jerk, Hades.
And you're a poopy pants yourself, Joshy. Care to try again?
I don't swear, okay?
Well, you certainly swear by your ponies.
Hey, you know what? Fuck you.